Under the Scope. Hey everybody, Scope is back after a long movie reviewing hiatus, Jared.
We haven't had passes in a while. We finally had to pay for a movie.
And we are in the mobile studio on our way back from seeing the latest Planet of the Apes film, Jared. I don't even know what it's called.
Let's see if you can get the title.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn Planet of the Apes, exactly. It's all about Dawn and how... No.
Along with Jared, we've got Carrie in the back with her hot, delicious coffee drink, and we've got my daughter who is having vision issues, so now she's wearing glasses. So, Jared.
Yes.
This Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. There's too many of those in these movies.
Well, that's traditional to the series. Sure.
It really is.
Yes.
So this one doesn't really star any of the cast members from the original one. Is that? Can you confirm that?
Other than Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is back as Caesar, the chimpanzee who has gained intelligence and the power to speak.
He has.
He has.
And a lot of things have happened to society in the 10 years or so that passed, the time that passed from the first Planet of the Apes movie. Why don't you tell us, Jared?
Well, there's been an outbreak of what they call the Simian Flu, and it's decimated the human population. It seems like what few humans are left have sort of clustered themselves into cities. We only really see San Francisco and a small part of San Francisco where the humans have been apparently the ones that are left are genetically immune to the Simian Flu. So
they're the start of the mutant population.
Yes,
they'll be shooting I-beams out of their eyes.
So humans are pretty much close to extinction. There's only a few left. Meanwhile, the ape population, which we saw going into the woods around San Francisco at the end of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, has created its own society. They've got a structure. They've got kind of a fort built.
They have a lot of trees with good swinging branches.
Yes, they've
easily make their way through the forest.
Established their social order. They've got their own rules of conduct, and these two populations have really remained separate for at least a couple years. We're led to believe that's the last time that the apes have made contact with humans. They're not even sure that humans are still around. So,
but then humans.
We have an encounter. Some humans from San Francisco have worked their way up into the woods. Apparently there's a small dam on the river there that has a hydroelectric plant, and they want to investigate it and hopefully reactivate it to supply power back to San Francisco. But during this encounter, our wild card human, I don't even know his name.
He's been in Fringe. He's in a sci-fi show. I can't even remember.
Yeah, he often plays soldier type characters, but
a thuggy New York type.
He chances upon two apes and ends up shooting one of them, and that causes an encounter and sort of sets everything in motion. Right?
Let's talk about some of the other human characters or human actors in this film that you get to see.
So our lead human is Jason Clarke. I didn't remember his name, but I've seen him in other things.
He was in the Jessica Chastain film.
Oh, right.
That was the main thing.
Right, Zero Dark 30.
Dark 30.
Sure.
He also was in another sort of action-y movie, which I can't remember. But Zero Dark 30 is what I remember him most from.
His, not wife, but partner, Carrie Russell. I'm guessing she has some medical training, although that's never really explained.
Yeah, she's a CDC scientist, apparently.
Gary Oldman is sort of the ostensible leader of these remaining humans in San Francisco. And he definitely doesn't have any trust for the apes. I'm trying to think who else. Those are the main names, really.
Those are the people that you would know.
I think all the apes were played by Andy Serkis's troupe of performance capture artists, for the most part. So, there you go.
So this shooting of the ape kind of leads into this mistrust between humans and apes, which sort of goes back and forth.
Right.
And then you find that, not all, some humans are wild cards, some apes are wild cards. They're more like each other than...
Sure.
Then you realize, and there's battles.
And there's sort of a parallel story going on both sides. You have factions of the humans and factions of the apes. Within each group, there is a faction that is willing to trust the other side and try to make a peace. And then there's a faction that's like, forget it. The other guys are bad, and we must kill them all.
And also the other aspect that we really haven't talked about is that the main human character has a son, and Caesar the ape has a son and a family. And
family is very much
tends
a parallel
to be
thing.
A important theme throughout this latest Planet of the Apes film. So we've kind of given you the lowdown and the hoedown of this movie. As we saw it, is doing quite well. The reviews have been quite good, but I'm curious what Jared actually thinks about this film, because he's not your standard movie reviewer. He's got opinions that oftentimes fall outside the box.
Is that so?
It is.
For the most part, I really, really enjoyed this. I think that, as a summer action film, it's really up there with the best action films that we've seen this summer. It does have a few logical flaws here and there that you kind of just have to brush aside and accept. Well, no, I'm not even talking about. I mean, if you have apes that don't talk, then the entire premise of your film is wasted. But I'm just talking about things like apes being able to not only fire their weapons with any sort of accuracy, but also reload them and know which magazines and calibers to use with their weapons.
Yeah, I kept thinking, boy, these guns that these apes are shooting, eventually are going to run out of ammunition.
Yeah.
They don't really deal with stuff like that.
I mean, they're not showing them like being snipers or anything. They are showing them sort of firing wildly, which is what they would end up doing. But maybe the apes have a little bit more tactical finesse than I would expect them to. And there's an issue, I think, with the tower at the end, which just seems like an arbitrary set piece.
Yeah.
In order to sort of, I guess, have an end game to the movie.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I thought it was really, really enjoyable. Very, very tense at times. There's a lot of standoffs between humans and apes where you're not sure where it's going to go. The standoffs between the apes, surprisingly tense and surprisingly interesting, given the fact that we're looking at performance capture and CG animated animals. It's amazing what they can do these days.
For the most part, I thought that the special effects were pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, with anything like this, there are often times where sometimes it doesn't quite jive the way it should.
Yeah, the integration isn't quite 100%.
But boy, oh boy, it's amazing how you can see these apes that, there's like the giant orangutan character with his big flat face, and you can see his wet fur, and it just is amazing.
You forget that we're looking at, 100% CG creations, full frame faces that are emoting and are relatable. It's amazing what they can do.
When they reboot this movie in another 10 years, then we're
completely flawless. You won't even think the humans will be
business.
CG at that point.
Exactly. So, and Jared, I agree with some of the logic issues. And the only nitpicky thing that I would sort of throw at this film is that I didn't necessarily like the characters that were black and white. Like the wild card human, the wild card ape. I liked when you saw shades of gray, and that really was a big issue with this film, is that you have to be able to advance the plot by having logical, rational people and apes, and then you have to have the not so logical and rational versions of them to push the story forward.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that sometimes when you do that, you lose a little bit of the subtlety and the stuff that makes you believe that the movie's more than just a summer blockbuster.
There are definitely characters that, to keep the lighting even, come on.
Then crank up the air, please.
The characters that you figure early on are going to cause trouble.
They cause trouble.
They cause trouble. So it's pretty transparent. And there's really no convincing them otherwise.
Yeah.
So.
That you can kind of see it telegraph some of the story plot lines. For the most part, things kind of played out how I thought they would. Not completely.
Sure.
So I was surprised at the end, how something sort of played out. But yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, does the movie overcome these flaws? Enough of the other aspects, some of the logic issues and some of the black and white characters? I think overall it does.
I think it does too.
I think it does too. It's really a technical marvel.
Yeah, you've got apes riding horses holding machine guns, sometimes two at once. From a sheer spectacle standpoint, that's fantastic. So, points for that.
Yes. So, Audrey, you're peeking your head in here. What do you say?
It was good.
It was good.
It's scary a little bit.
Would you say it's appropriate for a 9-year-old girl?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there were aspects that were a little iffy. So I apologize.
There's always one F word.
They get one. They always use it.
Audrey leaned over and asked me if the F word is about the worst word you could say, and I said it's right up there. It's right up there.
Depends on your point of view.
Exactly.
But yes.
So yeah, I think that it's a solid film. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's going to be more of them. We'll just have to see.
They definitely left it open-ended for there to be more. So
yes, just like
this is just the dawn.
Series.
This is just the dawn. We have the full-fledged Planet of the Apes to look forward to.
Yes, let's hope that that's what it's called. So I will get it right the next time we talk about it. Carrie, anything to add before we give this a score?
Oh, I thought about the same as
Of course you did.
I like the action. The story was good.
And I was legitimately touched by some of the family moments with the apes. I was surprised. I'm like, wow, I'm actually having an emotional reaction to these characters. So good job.
Before we give it a score, the other one thing that we haven't touched on that I think we should mention quickly is sort of the marginalization of women in this film.
Yeah, there was probably one on each side. There was one female ape that we could discern, and there was one major human female.
And the female ape was pretty much giving birth and having a baby and then sort of hiding away. Maybe that's part of ape society. Who knows? But at the same time, the Kerry Russell character was definitely... when you're used to seeing her play a super hyper strong female in The Americans, for instance, this is a night and day, black and white, if you will.
Sure. And the fact that there aren't any other female characters at all for the humans.
Yeah, you don't see them.
Come on.
Sometimes you see them dancing in the street when the power may or may not come.
Let's figure this out, Hollywood. Come on.
It can be done. So, before we waste any more time, let's give this thing a score.
The Scope score is 3 stars.
So 3 stars.
3 stars.
That's not bad.
Solid effort.
In a summer movie season that's been a bit underwhelming overall, I think this one will stand with the best of the best, I think. And we'll have to see how it all shakes out in a month or so when we can officially conclude the summer movie viewing season.
Indeed. We still have a lot of good films in August to look forward to.
Yes. We've got a big one, among other things. But we want to get this is Planet of the Apes.
Ninja Turtles. We're looking forward to that. No.
So, Jared, tell them how they can contact us, how they can interact with our videos.
You can like, comment, and subscribe right down there.
Exactly. It's just that easy.
Or go to thescopeshow.com for all of our social media links.
They're there. Follow us.
Or just stalk us and come to our homes.
We like that.
Write personalized notes that you stick into our doors.
But
don't sign your name because it's a mystery.
And I will take
we love a mystery. So for Jared, Carrie, and Audrey, I am Shane. This is The Scope. Thanks for watching. See you more some other time soon. Boy, that was a really huge fumble.
Bye.
Full credit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.